Hey guys, so I know my face looks funny, but it's no big deal. It's I had a little run it in with the pavement, running into the pavement, not on the pavement. So anyway, um, you will notice today that I have this ribbon on because it is Love Your Body Week or National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. And so just remember this week to do something to love your body. And the subject of today is assertive communication. This is something that we talk about quite a bit in my groups, with my trauma groups that I work with, and doing exercises on assertive versus aggressive communication. And the difference is that when you're aggressive, there's different ways that you're aggressive. Either you are outright aggressive, meaning that you'll state something that you want, but you state it in a way that's using power or control. And a lot of times this happens, like with parents and teenagers, for example, that a parent will say, well, I want you to clean your room. And a teenager will say, well, I want to go to a movie. And mom will say, well, you're not going to a movie because your room isn't clean. And so then there's this fight of the teenager getting mad, saying, I'm not going to clean my room and I'm going to sneak out, or I'm just going to sulk, and mom's mad and teenager's mad. And this is a very common aggressive communication. Another form of aggressive communication is something like the silent treatment. You get mad at each other, you won't talk to each other, you assume that the other person should know what they're supposed to do, and so you get mad. They may not know why you're mad at them, or they may know, but they get offended and mad as well, and so you just have this blow up. So that's aggressive communication. Somebody calls me on the phone. I don't like what they're telling me, so I say, okay, I can't talk to you right now, I'm going to hang up. Or just hang up, period. So that's aggressive communication. Now, the difference is assertive communication. Say, the case of the teenager, mom may come in and say, I really want you to clean your room. The teenager says, yes, mom, I can see that you want me to clean my room, and I agree that it's messy, and I was wondering if I can make a deal with you. You know, I have this party that I really want to go to, and, it's really important to me, and I can also see that my room is important to you. However, between now and the party time, it is unlikely that I'm going to have time to clean my room fully. So, can we make out some kind of a deal that either I will do a certain amount before the party and then do some afterwards, or I will go to this party and I will make a contract as to when I will actually have my room clean. And then the parent will say, well, yes, I think I maybe can do something like that. Or say a parent says, okay, you can go to a party and you have to be back by midnight. And you don't come home, and then at 1 o'clock in the morning you call your parents and say, oh, by the way, I'm late. And then they're mad and they're angry, upset, they yell at you, and then you get mad and you get into this big argument. Where on the other hand, if it's assertive communication and you know you're going to be late, then 15 minutes before you're supposed to be home, you call and say, hey, mom, I'm running a little bit late. Would it be okay if I stayed another hour? I'll be home by this time. And the mom, generally, if it happens before the curfew time, parents will say, okay, maybe we can work something out. So, that's assertive communication, because you're talking to the person before their panic button goes off, and by the time that the parents' buttons go off, then, they've gone into panic mode, and then you've created this spiral of communication problems. Now, let's say it was for maybe a college student or dating person, or maybe married person communicating with a partner or a spouse. And let's just say it's something like a you know, say that your partner or spouse wants to go out and hang out with his or her friends doing, going to a movie or something, or, say that you're, like in my case, like, I have kids. My kids are getting a little bit older, but say when they were younger, and if my spouse or partner would have wanted to go out and hang out with his friends, but I really was frustrated because I was home all the time, and I didn't like him going out with his friends. And if I never said anything to him and just said, okay, fine, whatever, and then just got built up anger inside, and then eventually one day I wanted to go somewhere and he complained, and then I just blew up and said, well, you get to go out all the time and I have to be home all the time, and you're such a bastard because you're gone all the time and you don't even know what I do here and you don't appreciate me. Okay, that's aggressive communication. Even though, during the time I just held that in, and in my mind I'm building up all this resentment. Where a better thing would have been to do would, before I got angry, would say, hey, I've noticed that you're spending a lot of time with your friends lately, and I realize that this is probably important to you. However, I am very overwhelmed at home with our 3 little kids, and they demand a lot of time and attention, and sometimes I would like to be able to go out as well. So could we arrange something so that we both have our needs met of needing to go out and have free time, or, adult time, but that I'm not always feeling like I'm here all the time. And see, then you're not blaming the other person. You're saying, what I feel, not saying you make me feel like this. When you communicating assertively, use I statements, not you. You don't blame each other. You don't fight below the belt, so to speak, so you're not digging at each other. And this is true of a parent-child relationship, friend-to-friend relationship, partner relationship, work relationship, any relationship that you're in, you can use this skill of assertive communication. So those are a few examples that I can give you. Another example that I would think would be really relevant to eating disorders especially is that if you are in treatment, being assertive with your treatment team. A lot of times people assume that just because somebody's their therapist or doctor or dietitian, that if they don't feel comfortable or don't agree with them, that they're not able to, that they have to just submit to that. And you know that there's things in recovery that you do not like to do, and I know this, but there is some element of taking back control in a healthy way, and that you need to advocate for your treatment and say, and be intuitive with yourself and say, I don't like the way that you're treating this, and this isn't quite working for me. I had to do this with the first dietitian that I had, and I had to learn how to be assertive instead of aggressive, because she didn't like the fact that I am a runner and that I was restricting so much, and that I wouldn't quit running, because running was a big motivation for me in life in general. And my therapist supported this, but the dietitian I had did not, because in her mind it was all eating disordered, and she would give me ultimatums a lot, saying, well, I feel like I should drop you as a client, or you should just be impatient, or whatever, and make me mad, in that I would be passive-aggressive and do eating disordered behaviors to lose weight or whatever, so that she would be even more mad the next week. But it was a control thing, and it was aggressive communication, even though it was nonverbal. And finally there was a blow-up, and I told my therapist, I said, I'm quitting recovery, this is the end, I'm not doing anymore. So that was also aggressive. And her response, I thought she would say, listen to your dietitian, was different. She said, you know what, you don't have to listen to your dietitian. Do what you think is right for you, but don't quit recovery because of it. Don't give her more power than you need to. And so then I started approaching it differently, saying and I got a new dietitian. I said, I'm an adult, and these are the things that are important to me, and I'm willing to work with you, but I'm not willing to give up running, and so we need to work around these parameters. And so then, she was able to compromise and meet me where I was at, but I also had to compromise and meet some of her expectations, but we did it in a way that was mutual and that we could both assert our opinions and needs, and we were able to make a lot more progress. So that's how you can use it in recovery. So have a good week, and I will talk to you next